The following broadcast is a presentation of Mount Zion Media Ministry.
I want to preach from the subject and teach more than preach today from the subject, great expectations. Great expectations. And I want to start out by saying to all of the single people in here and the widows and widowers that have a desire to be in a relationship. And I emphasize has a desire because, believe it or not, there are some people who are not looking for a relationship. They're in a season in their life when they are content to be all by themselves. But for those of you that are interested now or maybe interested later, I want to have a talk with you. And again, married folk, don't check out on me because I promise you, you're going to learn some stuff. You single ladies, single brothers, widows, widowers, you ought to enter a relationship with expectations. And not just expectations, but great expectations. That there should be some things in your mind, in your heart, that you expect out of the relationship. And those of you that have too low expectations, let me tell you, you are missing out on what could be a greater life by accepting and living with low expectations. Listen, and those of you that are nearing a certain age, or you've been alone a certain length of time, I don't want you to get so desperate that just for the sake of a relationship, that you so in love with the idea of being married that you will lower your expectations just to come to the altar or just to have you a date. One person said to me, I'm tired of sleeping by myself. I need somebody right here on that hill. I hope that your fatigue with sleeping alone won't lead you to settle just to get somebody on your hip. Because you might mess up, end up with a trip stuck to your hip, and so I'm gonna be nice today. I'm gonna be nice, and I'm trying to tell you, you ought to have expectations, and those of you that's married and your expectations hadn't been met, hold on, I'm going to help you out in a minute. And so you need to have some expectations. You need to be able to articulate what those expectations are. And then when you meet somebody, you determine their suitability for you based on their capacity to meet your expectations when the two of you come together. See, I'm getting ready to say something that you need to hear. It shouldn't be just based on how much you love them. Because just because you love somebody don't mean they're a suitable match for you. And even though you love them, they may not love you back. It shouldn't be just based on, ooh, she fine, good. Ooh, he's so fine, girl. You just see them and the way they look just catch you up. I'm telling you, looks not enough to be committing your life in a relationship to somebody. And let me say this, and then I'm going to move on into this text. And hear me. Don't be one of those people that say, Well, I don't have an expectation because I'm not looking for anything. I ain't trying to be in no long-term relationship. I'm just trying to have a good time right now, and I'm not, it ain't that deep. I ain't trying to figure out nothing about nobody. I'm just living right now. And so you're hooking up here, you're hooking up there, and just living right now. That kind of stuff will get you killed right now. And I got a friend. He don't say killed, K-I-L-L-E-D, kill. Y'all laughing, but I'm serious. It gets you killed. And and life is too precious, and there's too much more to have out of life than to just settle for, just these one-night stands. You meet in the club, you hook up, and then you go your separate ways. That's not what you want. You ought to have some expectations, and they ought to be higher. So here we go. At least I keep you too long today. And so the Apostle Paul, in the scripture that I just read, gives us a principle that I want to give you as the first principle for sizing a person up, for helping you to decide whether or not this person is the right one for you. May look good, may make you feel good, may just, this is the one, but are they really the one? Let me help you. If you would put my picture up, please. A picture is worth a million words. The text says, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. See if I can break this down, because see, that unequal yoke stuff don't mean any sense. In the days in which Paul writes, farmers had no machinery, no tractors. They used animals for plowing and other work. And so what they would do is get two animals, and they would join them together with that wooden thing you see around their neck called a yoke. And the purpose of that yoke is to join them together so that the power can be maximized, so that whatever is in one can be paired with the other, and together the two of them have a greater capacity for work and production. And the animals who were yoked together had to be equally yoked. And so what you wanted to do was to get animals who were similar, the same kind. And obviously, there's an ox and a donkey. That's an unequally yoked couple. I didn't talk to your mate, but I'm wondering who's sitting with a donkey this morning when you're ox. Or who's a donkey sitting with an ox. And if you stuck with a donkey, it ain't too late. I'm going to help you. You see, and let me dispel this myth right here. There are some people who twist scripture and say that they say that part of this unequally yoke has to do with race, and it has absolutely nothing to do with race. But read the text. Be ye not unequally yoked with unbelievers. The yoking has to do with your belief system. Not your color, not your ethnicity, but not to be unequally yoked with people who believe different, because you're going to have to work together, and here it is. Now, if that donkey was paired with another donkey, it wouldn't be a problem. Because when the donkey pulls the load, they walk and they lean a certain way to maximize their strength. And both donkeys going to be in lockstep, and they're going to pull the load easier. But the step and the leaning of an ox is different from the steps and the leaning and the pulling strategy of a donkey. And so when the ox and the donkey are paired together, because their methods are different, it's going to be conflict. At some point, at least one gonna end up being choked because the donkey gonna pull one way and the ox gonna pull the other way, and somebody gonna get choked. Anybody here feeling choked right now? I can't breathe. I didn't get married to have all life choked out of me. And let me tell you something else. When that donkey and ox get to pulling together, that choking gonna create some conflict. And so that donkey gonna start hee-hawing against that ox, and that ox gonna take them horns and gore him one time, and that donkey gonna turn around and try to kick him one time. And there's gonna be some fussing and fighting, and it's not the donkey and the ox fault, it's the people who put them together fault. See, there's no need in bringing that donkey and ox to counseling. Because pastoral counseling can't turn a donkey into an ox and an ox into a donkey. And so what you want to do is make sure you equally yoked. And so how do I do that? Then you want to have some conversation and begin to ask about a person's belief system. And the text specifically speaks to the idea of our faith, a believer in Jesus Christ, not being unequally yoked with somebody who's not a believer. That's the first foundational piece right there. You're looking for somebody who not just go to church, but if they are a true believer in God. I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. And then you want to have some discussions and discovery about their beliefs about certain things, so that you make sure that your belief systems are compatible and that you're equally yoked. And I'm not saying everything that you believe in got to be alike, but at least you need to know that it is compatible. Because we talk about, like, what fellowship has light with darkness. Light and darkness ain't going to coexist in the same place. And so it starts with my belief about the Lord, because out of my belief system, my faith with God, out of your belief system, his, hers, is going to come what we believe about right and wrong. There are some people whose faith allows them to go upside your head. And they think that's all right. And there are some people now who believe that's all right. Because I've heard it out my own mouth. I know he cared for me because he wouldn't have got mad enough to whoop me if he didn't love me like he did. He just slapped me because he loved me. Are you serious, babe? I mean, so what are your sense about right and wrong? Because when you say, I want somebody to treat me right, what does that look like? What does that look like to you, to him? It means different things. I want to be happy. What does happy mean? For you, for him. I want a man who makes me happy. What does it take for a man to make you happy? What do you believe that is? What does he believe that is? And if you don't believe the same thing about that, I believe that I need a man to pay me some attention, some affection. Well, I don't believe a man have to do that. I go to work every day. I bring home, I pay the bill. That's enough attention and affection right there. What does it mean to make me happy? To be attentive, to be affectionate. What does he believe? What do you believe? And you can't just listen at what come out the mouth. You got to watch the action. I might get kicked out the man club or the woman club for this, but I got to tell you the truth anyway. Because people in the initial stages of the relationship, and some longer than others, they wear masks. And they don't show you who the real person is until later on. So you need to hang around long enough until you see who you're really dealing with. And so What does he believe about this? Those things, because see, out of that belief comes your values. What are your values? Are they compatible with his? What do you want out of life? Want a nice house? Want a nice car? What does that look like to you? A nice car. Maybe a Hyundai. Ain't nothing wrong with a Hyundai now. It may be a house, 1,200 square feet. Nothing wrong with that. But to the other party, a nice ride, maybe a Bentley. So if I'm expecting a Bentley and you bring me a Hyundai, we got a problem. If I'm expecting a house with 4,000 square feet and a maid, and then you put me in 1,200 square feet and put a mop in my hand, we got a problem. I believe that a man ought to take care of a woman, that she work as an option. You don't believe that. So what you gonna do? And you see, and you can't get mad and want to whoop folk if you didn't have these discussions up front. You so busy having a good time and going out and partying and hanging out and doing what you do, you're really not examining the things that you ought to be examining. Helping him pick out shoes, you need to be helping him figure out how he's going to walk with you. Helping her get shoes, you need to be figuring out how she's going to walk together, because here's my next one. If you go to the book of Amos, chapter 3. Amos chapter 3, that's in the Old Testament. That's one of those minor prophet books. And so if you get in the book of Psalms, you're going too far. If you get to Isaiah, Jeremiah, you're back too far. Come on back. And in Amos chapter 3. Amos chapter 3. And so, ask yourself, how you yoked? What do you believe? What does he believe? And then here's the next passage I want to share with you. Can two walk together except they be agreed? Coming to understand where a person is in terms of their beliefs and what they want out of life, etc. That's step number one. And so you've had that conversation and you're clear on that. And now here's the other one. Can two walk together except they be agreed? And so when you put it out there, what needs to happen next before you commit yourself to somebody that you want to marry, and I even suggest in this long-term relationship, you got to come to the table and decide what you want to agree on as the grounds for this relationship working. Two cannot walk together, and walking has to do with living together. You cannot live together except there are certain agreements that are in place. And you don't have them agreements after you're married. You got to have those agreements before you get married. And let me just go and lay it down real plain and help you. And you have to remember there's a time and a place and there's an order. And you don't have the discussions about the agreement after you've been in the bed. Those agreements don't count. Don't get in the bed with me, then when you get through on lay up, okay, baby, where we going together? Get the agreement before. Before you even get engaged, somebody just said. So don't give yourself away to somebody that you've not made an agreement with for your life and for your future. Why take the risk of partnering with somebody that's going to make your life miserable when all you had to do was back up, say, before we go to all these places and all these kind of commitments, we need to do this right here. Call me old school if I want to. If you want to, just call me old school. But I just don't think you ought to meet somebody. You hadn't worked out this stuff because you hadn't been together long enough, and they moving stuff in your house. You are setting yourself up for misery. Babe, I think it's time me and you start living together. No, bro, it ain't. No, sis, it ain't. You meet him, and she bring you home, because it go both ways now. She bring you home. Just because they bring you home late doesn't mean they got to stay. We got cars with good lights now. They can see how to get home. You have no covenant commitment, nothing that you've agreed upon, and now there is no reason for it. Hey, when we're together and we have children, how do we parent our children? Are you a go-getter, or are you just lazy because I'm a go-getter? I want to grow. I want to advance in life. Are you content that this is where you plan to be all your life? Look. What does financial stability look like to you? What do you believe the role of a woman is and the role of a man is in a marriage? Let's see if we can agree on that. Which direction do you think our life ought to go? How do we? Oh, no. Well, if somebody don't know, that means they're not ready for the relationship. When you want to do grown folk things, got to be grown. Here and here, head and heart. And so, what kind of agreement? Because how can two walk together except they agree? And then if you agree to have a life of misery, that's up to you. But the potential is too great for you to have a wonderful life with another person, so then for you to just take it lightly. The number one problem people have is centered in a relationship. You take money in relationships and you can pretty much pinpoint everybody in here. If you've grown, I say, you ever had a problem with money? It's going to hit most of us. And if I say, whoever had a problem with relationships, and that's everybody been in one. And you see, I am scary for people who tell me they've been in long-term relationships and we ain't never disagreed. You still wearing your mask, babe? He want to tell you, and she want to tell you, but I don't want no conflict. As the old folks say, teeth and tongue fall out sometime. So here it is. Let me finish. And so, brothers and sisters, married folk, I'm getting ready to reel y'all in too. And so it's this unequally yoked thing. And then it's this agreement. But I am not prepared, you are not prepared to yoke up with somebody and to enter into agreement with somebody until you do this first. You got to look in the mirror and know the person that's in that mirror and love that person that's in the mirror. Because I can't be healthy with you if I'm not healthy. And I don't have to be totally healthy, but at least I recognize my issue. And so when we start talking, I'm going to let you know what my issue is so we can work on it together. Wow. Listen. When I look in the mirror, when you look in the mirror, who do you see? And you got to take the layers off and see the real you. You got to see that child. I know you're grown now, but you got to peel the layers back and see that child who was abandoned by a father or a mother. And sometimes abandonment takes place when they're absent and when they are present. And I got to know what my issues are as it relates to that abandonment. My mother, my father died when I was young, and that impacted my mind, my heart, my psychic, almost a certain way because of that loss. And I need to know and understand that. I need to know if I'm going to enter into a relationship with you, and that's why we got to have some time together, because there are certain things I don't want to tell you until we've had some time together. And so if I've been abused sexually or physically by somebody who was supposed to love me, I need you to know that so that you will know who you're dealing with. And so that when we get married and we're on our honeymoon, you calling me frigid and you want to fight because I don't feel a certain way, what I need you to understand is that there's some other stuff going on inside of me that has nothing to do with you. When you touch me in a certain way, when you say a certain word to me, it's a trigger for more emotions than I care to talk to you about. And so I need to know what I'm dealing with. And so I am a person, for example, who, when I'm first confronted with something, I don't want to talk about it, at least to another human being. I spend some time with God working it out, me and him. And then I'm going to come and I can talk to you. And if you push me to talk to you before I get through talking with him, we're going to have a difficult conversation. And if you learn to just leave me alone, and I'm going to tell you this up front, don't bother me when you see me looking like that right there, because... But you see, when we agree up front, y'all help me, grown folk, help me. And so, when I recognize that because of some issues in me, I'm confused about my identity. I'm trying to get straight. Sometimes I'm attracted to women. Sometimes I'm attracted to men. And this is either way, not both men and women. And so I hadn't worked it out. And so before I go commit to anybody, I need to clear up in my own mind and in my own heart who I'm attracted to. Because I don't want to go marry you or commit in a relationship with you when I am not clear, because I run the risk of hurting you. I commit to you. You think you committed to me, only to find out later, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I tried it and it didn't work. I'm going back over this way over here.
Thanks for watching. Be blessed and continue walking in the light.